Busy couple weeks for Toronto FC. Ended up losing to Nashville 1-0 last night. And one of their former players, Federico Bernardeschi, now is Saputo on the front of his kit. It's a little bit of a sight to see as Bernardeschi is signed with Bologna, Joey Saputo's beloved Serie A club, which continues to do really well. We'll see what kind of match that is with Bernardeschi returning to Italy. Gareth Wheeler, John Conway, Jimmy Brennan with you. Let's talk some Toronto FC because Insigne and Bernardeschi are out. I'm surprised some of the punchback to some of my commentary about Bernardeschi leaving, how much pushback there's been, because fans believe that Bernardeschi should have stayed. I mean, I just don't see it in terms of the player, and just knowing what I know, his antics, both on and off the field, the selfishness, just TFC weren't having it, and that's a big reason why he's no longer with the club. Bologna's problem now, Toronto FC have opened up 2 designated player spots. How many they will fill this summer, that remains to be seen. I think that 1 is a decent enough estimate. But let's get into how much they can accomplish in this window and what kind of designated player they should be going after. 2 individuals with a lot of history with the club, Toronto FC. John as a player and a coach. Jimmy, of course, as a player and a coach as well. First player ever with Toronto FC. So, Jimmy, let me start with you. What should Toronto FC be looking to do this summer in terms of the window?
Well, for me, if you're going to go for a DP, I think you want to fill that DP down the spine. And I felt with the 2 wide players last time, but you didn't have a number 9 really that could finish. If you're going to get a DP, I think you need a striker or maybe an attacking midfielder. That's what I would think. And then obviously you've got a lot of players that are going to be out of contract come the end of the season. So that's going to change. You've got players that are on loan. You've got to think, are we going to keep these players? Do we let them go? There's a lot of decisions to be made. And then also the fact, John, do you bring in a DP right now? Or do you kind of think, no, we don't need one right now. We'll wait till the end of the season when we figure out what players we're bringing in, and this DP, can he be the final piece to the puzzle?
Let's start with that, Jimmy. I think there needs to be a pause here because, you brought in these 2 guys and it didn't work out. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I think you lost some fan base. I think you lost your grip on the media in the city. Nobody really cares about the team at this point. And the team, to be blunt, this city cares about winners, and you need to get winning again, and you got to make this next one the right one. Yeah. So to go back to your first point about the position, I agree. Maybe the spine of the team might be the best move in a 9. They do have Bryn Hilson. Maybe they need somebody to partner him with. But for me, above all in this whole thing is a guy that has character, a guy that's motivated, and a guy that wants to represent this city and represent the club. Those are the 3 qualities that I'd be highlighting if I'm going out. Again, he needs to be a quality player. That's a given in this whole thing. But those 3 things are the utmost importance, especially on what has happened in this past run. And I think that's what they have to look for.
And the 2 guys they got rid of were neither of those, to be honest. Bernardeschi is one of the most overrated players I can think of. Even with Juventus, I felt the exact same way. He's all the God-given gifts in terms of his physical ability and what he can be. But the mentality and just the attitude, just everything. The lack of production as well. After his first half season with Toronto FC, he averaged a goal or assist every 3 games in all competitions. Yeah. That's not what you need from a designated player. I'll get off of that and look forward. Jimmy, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, I want to jump in there. Do you think it's got something to do with the money that he was making? If he was only making $1 million, $2 million a year, would you be looking at him and thinking, well, actually, he produced quite a bit?
I don't think a player.
I think his price tag alone, I think that's where a lot of people are after him, thinking maybe he could have done a lot more than.
I don't think if he's making $1 million or $2 million, then he's walking around the place like he was and picking and choosing what games he was going to play in and what he wasn't. I just think that all the baggage is part and parcel of the player that he is and the individual that he is and this paycheck and his reputation. And I think he took full advantage of that while at Toronto FC. I'll throw in a different type of player into the mix. I think they need a wide player, guys. I think they're just exceptionally thin in wide areas. Corbianu, I think he's done really well.
And as a DP?
And I keep as a DP, an attacking wide player. I mean, anyone across the front line, to be honest with you. You need production. I'm with you. You need a 9. You need an attacking midfielder. But I think you need someone in a wide area as well, especially if you project forward. Which one of these players playing in those wide areas are going to be around next year and beyond? I think they should keep Corbiano, to be honest. I don't know if that's going to happen, though.
I don't know if it's going to happen either. In fact, I think he's been one of the bright spots for those guys.
Absolutely.
There's days where I I get frustrated when I watch him because I feel like he passes when he should shoot, and he shoots when he should pass, and he's not on the same page when he's in wide positions to get the ball in the box. And, you know, I think that just frustrates me. But I think the one thing is that he's creating, and he's not afraid to take people on, and he's confident in those movements. And I think that's valuable to this team. I think they need that.
I want to bring up this board and show you the production of designated players in 2024 across Major League Soccer, what TFC ended up getting out of Federico Bernardeschi. These are goal contributions, goals and primary assists. Like 13 in 29 as the third most highest paid player in MLS compared to other players who have brought a lot more to the table. We didn't include this season. I mean, Insigne, Bernardeschi, largely ineffective in 2025 as well. But you're looking for someone that can at least push the 30 range. Like, you have to be in terms of goal contributions.
Wheels, if you're going to pay money and bring somebody here, their job is to impact the game every single night they're out there. Whether that's by a goal, whether that's helping score a goal, whether that's, you know, if you want to go with a defender, which I don't think you should do in MLS, but you need to be contributing every night you're out there. Otherwise, the paycheck is not worth it.
Yeah.
And those paychecks were not worth it for Toronto FC. Insigne's was a waste. He, you know, and at least Bernardeschi at least put up some numbers, but his other characteristics are something that I mentioned in the next group of guys that you bring in that has to be spotlighted. Character and motivation.
But let's not forget as well, like on that list, it's strikers. A lot of strikers, attacking midfielders. So you've got a wide player who scored 13 goals. You would take that any day. Any day. Right? And I understand, like, he's not a number 9. He wasn't playing
13 goals or assists. Goals or assists.
13 goals.
Yeah, and assists.
Or assists.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad for a wide player.
I don't think of a wide player that magnitude. I think that those numbers are far below what you're looking for. And I get the argument, the team around Toronto FC, nowhere good enough, but they went to San Diego this week. I even watched them on Saturday night against Nashville thinking, you know what, they look more cohesive at the very least as a unit. I don't think that they have the talent or the quality in the team to be much better than what they provided, but at least it provides you a framework. Okay, this is how we're going to play, and then it provides you a blueprint of what to add later.
Well, again, that's the thing. I would be hesitant to bring a big guy in just to bring a guy in that's going to make a difference. This guy has to fit that blueprint. Has to fit what Robin's doing right now. He's getting the group, now that the 2 Italians are gone, I think he's really got a good hold of this group and moving everybody in the right direction of where they want to go. And you got to give him some time, and I think by doing so, you build up the group that he has now. They all understand where they're going and what they're doing, and then you inject that little bit of magic with a DP who fits into that and understands what he's going to do for this team.
Let's talk about pressure. Like, who's feeling it the most right now? Is it Keith Pelly? Is it Jason Hernandez? Is it Robin Fraser to make this work, Jimmy? Like, where's the pressure in order to make these moves and get it right?
The pressure is, everybody's going to be under pressure. Your head coach, general manager, the president, because they know they've got to make changes, but they got to make the right changes. They got to make sure that you keep the certain individuals that you want for next season. Your scouting has got to be bang on, so there's pressure on the scouting and recruitment because they've got to get the right players in. And I agree with John. I think it's about slowly now building this team, getting an identity, how you want to play, and then when the time is right, bring that guy in that's going to make a difference and win you games.
And on top of that, I'm curious how much money might be available to bring in said player. With the ownership change, MLSE changing, it becoming a Rogers property, what the future of the club may look like in terms of the ownership. How much are they willing to spend right now, John, to bring in a top player? Well, so it's not about getting anyone, about getting the right player at the right price.
Correct, and there's also cap implications by buying out guys mid-season. They do have some leeway with that, but again, money talks. So what quality do you want to get and bring in, and who fits that based on where you're going?
Okay, so what do they have to build around? What do they have right now? You're like, you say, okay, Toronto FC have this. This is a real positive, something to build off of. How much is there? Or is it a complete teardown?
No, there's a few pieces that I think you need to keep around. Corano, who we just talked about, I think is a promising young player who's done well.
He's on loan.
He's on loan. Again, if you can keep him, you keep him. I think Sean Johnson is having a really good year. He's making a lot of saves. He's keeping them in games. He's steady back there. It's a guy that you can rely on. It's not a piece that you need to go out and search for. He's already in-house.
He might be out of contract at the end of the year.
I think it's
how much
the next one.
Does he? Oh, if he's under contract for next year, so be it. If he's not, then There's only so much
The
you
other
can pay
thing I
him,
thought
right?
was,
Like,
yeah, the other thing I thought was promising, and you guys can disagree with me, but last night you saw Richie Larea in the midfield.
yeah. That was interesting. He played center back the week before.
Correct, and that was out of necessity because they had some injuries. So they moved him into there. He goes back to midfield. He played midfield. That's how in the draft, when he came out in the draft, he was a midfielder.
Yeah.
And then when he came to Toronto FC, he came back to us after being in Orlando, and Greg and Robin shifted him to right back, and that's where he's found a home. But Robin's like, you've played here before. Let's get you back in there. We're light. It brings to mind the question, really, does Jesse Marsch kind of look at that as well? Because, you got Alfonso, you got Alistair Johnson. Can Richie be somebody that can back those midfielders up if injuries occur in World Cup, if injuries occur leading to the World Cup?
Interesting.
Does that make sense?
Well, look, when I look at Richie Larea, I mean, he's a clever player. He can play left back, he can play right back, he can play wing back on both sides if you need him, he can play in the midfield. So do you have to keep him? 100%, because he's the type of player that you're going to use, a utility player in a sense.
Yep.
But at the same time, you want him to play his best position where you're going to get the most out of him. Yeah, if you're struggling a little bit, like we saw, Richie, can you play there? Yeah, no problem. It's never an issue for Richie, but I still think I like him at that right back, wing back position.
Really quickly, guys, and Jimmy, I'll stick with you. Keepers, players to build off of or build around. How many of them are there in the team?
I think, now that the two DPs are gone, I think these next number of games towards the end of the season are going to be very important, and it's going to play a huge role in who they're going to end up keeping come the end of the season. It's difficult to make that decision right now because, you're starting to see a different team with these two players out. When they went down to San Diego, I thought, wow, what a fantastic performance. Nashville, okay, you saw glimpses of really what they could do. But I would like to see a number of games now of this team playing in order for me to make a final decision and say, yeah, this is who you should
That's
keep.
fair. Playing this way.
Yes.
Under this system with very few passengers.
Correct.
At least that you hope. All right, so it might be addition by subtraction for Toronto FC, but certainly I'd be shocked if they don't at least bring in one DP this summer. I mean, they've been planning for these exits, and we'll see what they have up their sleeve.